Baby dolls, there are some bizarre things happening on Earth. We're doing a very special episode today. Let's crank it. There are some really bizarre objects in the universe. Let's actually start with this. I want to ask you something. Do you trust the government? If your answer isn't no, oh my gosh, please, you need to seek help immediately. The government, there was something called the Tuskegee Experiment. They infected 400 black males with syphilis, which is the STI, sexually transmitted infection, the disease that gives you a lot of problems if untreated. Why? They wanted to see what happens. They wanted to see if black dudes got some genes to take it out. So this is how the government solves it. Like, all right, let's just go inject everyone and not tell anybody about it. Can you believe this happened? This actually is part of history. This happened. They gave them no treatment. And then they kept it hidden. Here it is. Just like, oh, well, I'm from the government, you know. By the way, this dude, think about it. He's like your average GP, general practitioner, doctor. He's your average lab coat dude. He's your average Twitter guy going, no, look, trust the science, trust the data, guys. You just got to go around and just, let's all be friends. The government's here to help. Are they here to help? I don't know, man. I don't know, friends. This is where it gets a bit crazy, all right? The government said everybody was a crazy nut for believing that they would ever do this. They're like, you think we went and just injected 400 black males with syphilis to see what would happen without giving them a treatment even though it was available? Yes. They started the experiment in 1932, and guess what? It got leaked by a gentleman named Peter Buxton. It was a part of the program. 40 years later, he's like, oh, guys, I've got to admit something to you. 40 years ago, we started injecting black dudes, and it's been 40 years now. I kind of feel a bit guilty. Come on, man. Imagine what they're doing right now that we don't know about. Just think about that, all right? You know they only leaked this because it was black males. God knows what they're doing right now. 40 years of being called a crazy nut by the government. This is why I mention here, sheeps don't like waking up. It's all over Wikipedia. Like, this is, the information was so broad and the information was so specific. They're like, oh, I guess we gotta put it on the internet now. We gotta tell people about it. Just a friendly reminder to you, all over my YouTube channel that you like, subscribe, belly button, all to. I've shown you scenarios where if the government really wants to get rid of something, they'll shadow ban it. All right. They've done the reptilian dude with Barack Obama's speech, right? The shapeshifter. They've done a lot of other things, friends. I can't also speak about them, but you know what a Jenga tower is? Now, you know, in the year 2001, America had a Jenga tower that collapsed, right? But there was another Jenga tower where nobody put their finger into the Jenga tower and it collapsed by itself mysteriously. Well, if you talk about that Jenga tower, you get taken down. Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about that Jenga tower. That's just one example. There are others. And I'm too afraid to even talk about the code of the code words, friends. I don't even want to mention it out there. There's certain families out there, you can't throw their names out. All right. I'm also going to write this out here. You can't talk about Roca, Negra. You can't speak about these guys too much. All right. You can't flag them too much. Only like one word here and there. Do you understand? So they're watching. They know. They know. Also something to blow your mind. So you think it just stops there. Look at this. This is, but get ready for this one. Decades ago, the USA had a German scientist and he was able to isolate the meat allergy effect from a tick. Now, I know this is crazy, right? So look at this. If you got bitten by this tick right here, if you got bitten by it, you become allergic to a sugar found in red meat. So they can literally, now they can isolate this. They can make you allergic to meat. Isn't that a bit convenient for the Great Reset bug eaters who want us to eat bugs with them? Isn't it a bit of a coincidence? I said, don't worry. There won't be a leak out there. We are definitely safe from this. Oops! Did I say there won't be a leak, friends? Because there was a leak. There was a leak from the lab. This mystery illness from tick bite leads to a rare red meat allergy. Golly gee! Oops! Did we leak it out? Coincidentally, the BioLeak outbreak at this research center many years ago, don't worry about it. They released only just 300,000 of these meat allergy ticks into the world. And they've continued to breed. They've continued to breed. Can you believe that? Just for a second, just imagine someone came to you and said, dude, you got to be careful. There's a tick out there that makes you allergic to meat. The bug eaters want us to get infected. They leak the biolab out there. And you're like, what, sit down. What do you mean? What are you talking about, baby? I've got chocolate to eat. There's a bull market coming. Isn't that funny? Now, it's actually called alpha-gal syndrome, AGS. And it's life-threatening to have this. So if you are bitten, you can't eat meat. Alpha-gal syndrome, a serious, potentially life-threatening allergic condition. That's crazy, man. That's wild. It's real. All you can eat are bugs and plants. If you get this. It's just, yeah. I know, friends. I know if someone just said this to you out of the blue, you wouldn't believe it. So I did the research myself. I go, there's no way this is true. If you watch this in a movie, I promise you, you would think this movie, look, who would write this script? This is trash. Here I am to mention, this is definitely just an accidental coincidence, considering the bug overlords have been wanting us to eat bugs for the Great Reset. Just to remind you, friends, it's because of the money supply. Here are this. Look, the art and science of eating insects. Yay! There's art and science behind it. Uncle Klaus Schwab's bugs. The government would never do this on purpose. Now, where's this all come from? All right, where's this all actually come from? So we got, okay, Uncle Klaus's bugs. All right, we know this. They actually want to say bugs and insects. It comes from money printing. Yes, because we live in a system, the IMF, the US Fed, all the bug eaters, they control the money supply. We live in a Keynesian system. They will use a Keynesian. They control the money. They get to print it. But what's been happening is, over time, as you can see, this is the money supply. They've printed so much. Their analysts, their reporters, the inside of the bug eaters, the mosquitoes, little cicadas who are working for them overtime, little bug ants, they can now see on the data that the price of meat, the price of, chicken, and it's just all these, they're going too expensive. Are they really going expensive? No, it's that they've printed money too much, okay? They've printed fiat so much that the price of meat is unattainable for poor people now. So what they're trying to do is psyops everybody with things like the art and science of eating insects. Yay! They're trying to psyops everyone to tell them, hey, that meat and the chicken and all that stuff, well, you don't really need to eat them. You should be eating bugs. You know what I mean? Why don't you go eat these nice little sweet bugs? Does this make sense now? It should make sense. Because the price of meat, real quality stuff that needs livestock and all these other inputs, it's harder to farm them because they need land, right? They need other things and food and all this other stuff and care where it's scarce. The government can't just print more of those inputs. But what they can print are bugs. How can they print bugs? Well, they can just make bug farms, right? It's so much easier. They go, well, bugs are much lower cost. So they're more pragmatic for us, okay? So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get everyone off meat. This is a slow programming that you already tell. Now that you see the pieces of the puzzle, as soon as I saw this, I was like, well, this is the most perfect one-for-one puzzle piece fitting story ever. Now you know why. What's the alternative? The alternative is they stop printing money and there's a wealth transfer from all the rich people. They get demolished. They lose 90% of their value, 99% of their value, and then poor people can buy it because you barely have cash in the savings bank. It's like if someone had $1 million property, but they need money printing to keep going, maybe the fair value for that is only like 50K, 95% lower. And then guess what? Some poor people, they've only got 20K. They're like, oh my gosh, I just got to save a bit more and I get this $1 million of value. But they're not going to let that happen. They're never going to let that crash come. They're never going to let the stock market and all the valuations drop that much like the Great Depression. Why? It's because it will be transferring wealth from the rich to the poor. They'll never let that happen. Instead, they're putting this programming out. They're doing money printing and they're going to make meat continuously get more expensive over time. They're trying to find their solutions. And in the meantime, make us eat the bugs. So now you think differently. When you see World Economic Forum, Great Reset, you know what's up. You know it's all about this money printing fiat agenda. And that's how they control us. That's what they got to do. They got to get everybody, you know what? We got to keep you in a certain basket of food. And we've got to keep the consumer price index. You know, we can't let it get too out of hand. So we're going to have to try to find other things to put into the index to drop the price of the index. Because if they keep meat in there and chicken, all these the healthy foods, if we keep them in there, the price of the index stays higher. And they can't get it to go down. They can't psyops and scam you that way. And I want to finish with this too. Occam's razor explanation for this family, friends. I'm not going to say it myself, okay? This R-word family, okay? Their family buying a secret Antarctic island. So Occam's razor means if you're presented with of how to think about, let's say, a dilemma, you're like, wait a minute. Is either two things that happen. Either it's a conspiracy or it's just like a dumb scenario. It's like, okay, like the simple, like low IQ explanation is the one by default you choose. So this is me making a tongue in cheek, like, okay, if the R word, if this family, one of the most powerful families in the world, if they bought a secret Antarctic island and they are all behind the money printing and they established the bank itself, central bank of the world, well, the reason why they bought it is just they like snow, right? So that's me poking fun at the non-conspiracy explanation of that, which we know is a bunch of baloney, okay? So let's listen to Joe Rogan, closing thoughts.
Everyone knows about Epstein's Island, but have you heard about Rothschild's Island? They bought an island right in Antarctica. Their island is completely censored out on Google Maps, and you can't see anything. So why do they need an island in Antarctica? Everyone knows about Epstein's Island.
Yeah, how about that? You ever thought about that? Well, they just like snow. That's why. Very interesting times that's happening, friends. I want you to know all of these. If you see one of these, you think, all right, it's probably a bit of a nut job. But then you see all of them lining up, and coincidentally, they all have the same message. You can't help but wonder, what is the hidden agenda? Is there a non-human intelligence behind it? Is it just power-hungry men? Is it a bit of both? We don't know. Just know that the sheep always get slaughtered. Don't forget that. They always get slaughtered, friends. We know that from markets, cycles, and all of these. So just stay aware. That's all I'm saying. There's no grand explanation for the next thing coming, but you just know that, hey, think about the programming that they're putting out to TV, on the TV and the media, and just be aware of that for yourself and your family. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button on, and catch you in the next one. Tell mum and dad, we're not going to eat the bugs.